Ready when y'all are, captains.
Welcome back to Uninformed Movie Reviews, the most mature podcast on the internet. Here we go. Welcome back, everyone, to Uninformed Movie Reviews. It's I, Danny Two Hands. I'm back around the round table of chicanery. Today we are talking about one of my most loved film franchises of all time.
It's generous.
I say personal loves.
One of my top 50 film franchises of all time.
We're talking about Tremors. That's right. The movie that's always on TNT.
Aptly named, Danny.
Oh, wow.
How very exciting.
Today we are ranking all of the Tremors films. And, I mean, it's going to go without saying that I know what both our tops are. So let's just, we're going to start from the bottom, listeners.
All right.
And I think, should I start it off?
Yeah, man. You do what you want.
Should we give a little bit of a synopsis as to what Tremors is before we get into
Big worms and little jumpy things and then some fly guys.
Okay, that's perfect.
There you go.
That's every movie.
Wow.
I was going to say, let's give that one synopsis that covers all the bases.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Big worms, little
There's
town.
so general synopsis that hits them all. I don't think I've ever taken a crack at this one. I think I got a good one for this one. People are minding their own business in some desert place. An attack happens.
Wait, did you say dessert?
Yeah, in some desert.
Yeah, like a pie shop or some sort of bakery.
You guys remember all the bakeries that they went to?
Yeah.
Ice cream shops.
Oh.
Monster attacks. They figure out it's these life forms. Everybody's trying to figure out what's happening except for like the rest of them. Pretty much until you get to the later ones, people know what's going on. And then the group has to break up. Mm-hmm. They have to travel in some like non-conventional way, get stranded somewhere. They ultimately defeat the monsters.
Wait, some minorities get eaten.
Obviously, minorities get eaten. This is a horror franchise, and it's a funny horror.
Yeah,
and what's the most persistent factor in all of Tremors?
Silly names.
And Michael Gross.
Yeah.
Michael Gross. Yeah, Michael Gross comes out on top too
and saves the day every time.
Yeah. He really was the star the whole time. We just didn't know it yet until we got to the later ones.
So I guess we should kick it off with my first. I'll go with my number 7.
Okay.
Not my number 1. Number 7 for me is 2001's Tremors 3, Back to Perfection.
All right.
Is that agreeable?
No, that's not what I have for number 7, but I could see how you arrived to that conclusion because 3 for me was all over the place as I was like whittling down to this.
3 called Back to Perfection?
It is.
I thought it was 4 that's Back to Perfection.
This just happened to me when I was making my
list. The
list.
Legend Begins.
Which sucks.
Which sounds like a time travel
Well, the
movie.
reason why it's called Back to Perfection is because 2's in Mexico.
Yes.
That's
so
right.
3 is like...
They go back to perfection.
Perfection being the city, or not city, the
Protection,
the shanty town in Nevada, yeah.
Perfection, Nevada. But you know what? That's another thing that knocked it down on the list is it was higher up there. But then when I figured out that Tremors 4 wasn't called Back to Perfection.
It's a spite rank.
I brought it down.
It's a spite rank. You ranked it out of spite because of the failings of your own memory.
Yeah. But then it wasn't just mine. It seems like to be more of the collective memory.
I mean, me, a smart person who plays inverted on video games, I remembered what they were.
Smart's a really strong word.
Weird is probably...
Smart.
You know, we were just bringing this up the other day. We were playing some King Kong. It's like, you ever notice that in video games, it's inverted or normal? Like clearly defining that one of them is normal and the other is not.
That's always older video games. Now it's always like inverted enable, on, off.
Yeah, and it's always default off. But anyway, I also picked 3 as my number 7, as my lowest ranked one.
That's awesome. High five.
Nice. Good job, boys.
I don't know. What do you have? What did you have, Frank?
I had Shrieker's Island for my number 7.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, mine's Shrieker Island's higher up there for me. So I would like to hear your point.
It's my number 7. Cool. If we're going to start talking about Shrieker Island, might as well get into the stats really quick.
Well, hang on. We shouldn't talk about Shrieker Island because number 7 is not going to be Shrieker Island.
Yeah,
right?
we do have a 2 on
If
1.
we're agreed on 1, and it's going to be...
No, yeah, obviously it's number 3. Danny, so we'll get to my points when we get to Shrieker Island then, I guess?
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, if you want to give a couple points, but we don't have to, like, you know...
Yeah.
I did not like it. I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Napoleon Dynamite was super distracting.
Spoiler alert, that's how I feel about most of these movies. A vast majority of these
the
movies...
thing is, I think the way my ranking is that way because I do earnestly enjoy these films.
I do too.
Yeah.
I like these films.
I like, you know, the first 15% of the series.
Like the first 6 of them.
I mean, I'm also going to go on record and say Shrieker Island I was disappointed with, but it's not that low for me.
Yeah, 3. The reason I have 3 as last is because it's not only
There's
is it
a lot of reasons that it could be.
It's not like the budget being cut really low, the terrible performances,
The ass blasters.
just the fact that you're going to give that name to like your creature that you're supposed to be afraid of. You know what I mean? There's a lot of problems here. I wrote I wrote in my notes, this one's a piece of that's what it says in my notes. That's what starts off my notes on Tremors 3, which I've labeled bowel movements in this in my list here. Tremors 3 bowel movements.
I mean, I agree with all those points. It's trash. The budget's super low. The acting's real bad. I mean, Michael Gross is the best part about it, but that's kind of the same thing about every movie in this list. I mean, but particularly in this one. But yeah, I mean, when I was a kid and I heard them call them ass blasters, I thought that was just like a joke. I thought I was like, what's the actual name?
Yeah.
Well, that is kind of the joke, you know what I mean? All these names, they weren't named by scientists, you know what I mean? They were named by people living in this town under a high amount of stress, might add you.
And a low amount of education.
Yeah, and a low amount of education. That's how you end up with graboids and shriekers and ass blasters.
Although I just feel like graboid is just a little more appropriate.
It's money though. That's a money name.
That is a great name.
It's fantastic.
Right off the bat in Tremors 3, I knew there was going to be trouble because the audio mix is off in the opening scene. Like the balance of the audio is just completely all over the place. To the point where it's like the music is louder than the people talking in the scene. And it's like when your podcast that we put together in a bedroom has better audio quality than this film, like, I don't know.
I'm just that good, David.
Kudos to Frank is what I'm trying to get here.
Watch the audio on this one just be like trashed somehow. I just did something wrong. Yeah, I agree with all these points. That being said, I had it ranked at number 4, just so you guys know where this landed for me. Tremors 3 Back to Perfection, 2001 release.
That's way higher than, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
5.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes is going to be surprising us with these scores all the way through for sure.
It always does.
104-minute runtime, which is pretty average for the franchise.
That's more than should be for this movie.
Yeah, this movie was made on a $6 million budget.
Wow.
Not a lot of money for a movie.
Lean.
And you can see you can see it for sure. There's more CGI in this one. This is like the first time the puppets are really kind of like pulled back on.
Mm-hmm.
But
and the design is just bad of the ass blasters.
Not particularly memorable. Yeah.
The ass blasters are actually based off of the bombardier beetle, which actually mixes like organic chemicals inside itself, but it doesn't like propel itself. It just like shoots this boiling hot spray of toxic liquid at its attacker.
It shoots a load,
which is pretty crazy.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they could have called these things bombardiers.
Yeah, but that's not as fun as ass.
And then they could have called them bombas for short.
And even being, even having like the new, that's one thing I really love about this whole like franchise is the evolution like that you get. You know what I mean? All the evolutionary stuff. But in this one, they name it Ass Blasters, and it's actually the only franchise or only movie in the franchise to get a PG rating instead of a PG-13. Which is really funny because the creature is Ass Blasters.
Yeah. Well, this one, like another one, there's another one in particular that feels like it's written by a child, but this one feels like there's like some teenage boys writing some of these jokes.
One.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll definitely bring it up. There's one thing I really like about this movie. There's a line that Gummer has, our favorite libertarian. Gummer's got this line in the movie where he says, "I'm a masterpiece of self-destruction." And that's just such a perfect description of that character.
Yeah, absolutely.
And his arc over these 7 films.
Especially from seeing him even from the first film.
Yeah.
Just how much has happened to him since then. And I'd say you really notice it in Cold Day in Hell. But yeah.
I mean, once you get to the tail end of this ride, he gets just cartoony, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it gets to another level. A lot of I feel like this is a big one that you feel a shift in like the vibe to the movie, like the way everything's structured. A big part of that is because of the first one where the script wasn't written by the 2 original team, Brent Maddock and S.S. Wilson, which I had to look up what SS was for, and it's Stephen Seth, which is pretty lame.
Wow, you never
SS is way cooler.
Never trust someone that has 2 first names.
Yeah, right.
Oh, speaking of which, though, it's Paul W.S. Anderson's birthday today. So happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Whoa.
Paul.
PWSA.
Paul S.S. Anderson.
Pussa.
Paul S.S. Minnow Anderson.
So none of these movies have particularly fantastic performances. I think there's a couple people who like surprise you. You know what I mean? For sure. But this movie
Are
might
you telling
have...
me Kevin Bacon didn't rock that first one?
Well, you know, I'm almost not even counting the first Tremors as like,
Yeah.
you know, this is one of those situations. Like, if you ever go to Walmart and you're trying to just like looking through the DVDs, you'll notice that like the Child's Play collection is all of them but the first one. It's like, no, people will buy the first one. You know what I mean? We have to bundle the other 7 of them because no one's going to buy those. That's
a good point.
But this movie has the worst performance, and ironically, it's from someone who's like in the biggest movie out of all these. And it's her character name is Mindy. She's the little girl from Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah,
and she is so bad in this movie. It's baffling. It's baffling to me, her performance, and it's so bad that even the movie has to like write out that character for the last like 40 minutes.
It's god awful.
They go up on that roof and then they're like, okay, you know what? We need to just like drop this storyline. And then you don't see him again. You see him for like a second. It's so weird. None of the other movies do that. When the group, like you were saying earlier, the group splits and then you get a little bit of each story.
It's like in Back to the Future 2 when they just knock out the girlfriend for the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just
That's
like
exactly what it's like. Like
we didn't know what to do with you. In her case, because she was hot garbage, which is probably why you don't see that actress like in things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She just lucked out into this one because she was the little girl in the first one, so they brought her back.
Yeah, she really is. Which, you know, funnily enough, I didn't recognize her in the first movie. I wasn't like, oh, that's the girl from Jurassic Park. Would you think you would have?
Well, I didn't recognize her until I like looked it up on IMDb because I knew the guy was the little kid, whatever his name is.
Oh yeah.
But I wasn't sure about her, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny. Oh my God, she's a girl from Jurassic Park."
Yeah,
that's how those dots were connected for sure. Thank you, IMDb.
And this is the last time that we really see perfection. You know, like perfection is so like iconic, I guess, the series. It's only really in 3 movies, and one of them's like
Well, you see it one time,
West.
but it was really like the first time, and just at the tail end.
Yeah. So
chronologically.
Yeah, so I thought that was a little interesting. This is like the last time that we see perfection as it's meant, but yeah, I don't know. Pretty lame.
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Skip this one, please.
There's a scene in here where like a graboid is gonna eat Goomer. Gummer. Sorry.
Goomer.
I'm gonna call him Goomer a whole bunch because I was doing it as a joke while we were watching the movies. Like calling him Goomer because one of the people calls him Goomer. Anyway, Goomer is like there's like a graboid coming out at him, and there's like this empty oil barrel next to him, and somehow the oil barrel falls over, and then he like gets squished into it because the graboid's pushing it in, and then the graboid swallows the barrel whole. But it's like in these other 2 movies, we saw these graboids like destroying cars and like crushing
swallowing
them
it whole. Yeah.
And you know what? The physics gets twisted and warped throughout the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Like throughout the entire franchise. There's tons of moments where you're just like, wait, what size are these things again?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
And they travel to a lot of different places too, so you can kind of get into that argument.
No, even
but
like
it breaks down.
even
a lot.
like within their own movies, you know what I mean? They kind of mess with their proportions a little bit. But that actually brings up a good point as to why it ranks so much higher for me, is because this is one of the last ones to rely so heavily on practical effects and puppets.
Yeah.
And God, I love practical effects.
Hey, we here at UMR love practical effects.
Sure, they at this point they'd already discovered like the time saving and the money saving that CGI could like do for them, but they still brought it with the practicals.
You get it for especially the graboid and all that good stuff. It's really just I'm not even going to say it. The flying ones. That's when they get you, and it feels so stark because it's in the same movie.
Yeah.
That's part of what's off-putting about it. Whereas in the later ones, you've kind of just like come to terms with it. You're like, oh well, I'm not getting cool puppets anymore. I mean, I guess the CGI is not terrible.
Yeah, well, the good thing is towards the end, the CGI at least gets way better.
It's pretty great, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, one point I really want to make for number 3 and for Tremors as a whole is like from my scene from all the interviews with like cast and crew and the original like OG crews and everybody who put this together. Which is a funny story. We'll get into it for like number 1, I guess. That's a good time to bring everything up. But it really is like a labor of love for these people.
Yeah.
Like these people love this franchise. They didn't expect it. Like the first one was a failure, and that's why it got relegated to like straight to video releases for the rest of its life. But they do it for the fans, you know what I mean? And you still feel it in this one a little bit. You feel like
they do it for people like us.
Yeah,
that like
they do it for us nerds.
Yeah, like,
who are just gonna like
we know
as a
it's
child,
bad. Yeah,
bother their parents to rent it over and over and over again.
Yeah. Or
when
like
my parents were down,
watch it as soon as it's on pay-per-view, or watch it as it's on Netflix, because I know I did.
Oh boy, Tremors.
When all of this got released, minus Shrieker Island, to Netflix, I was like, well, I know what I'm doing. You know, quarantine had just started, and I was just like, well, I need something to watch. And boy, all 6 films came out, and I was like, I haven't even seen these other ones.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these I hadn't seen, and they're on Stars now too. So if you guys want to check them out, you can hit up that week free subscription on your Hulu.
I was
account.
just gonna say we're not all bougie, man. We can't all afford Stars.
Yeah, but we can all afford to make a new email account, and
exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it moves to you.
To me, okay. So my number 6 is Tremors 6, the snowy one.
A Cold Day in Hell?
A Cold Day in Hell.
Also mine.
Unanimous.
Yeah. Man, Danny, me and you've been lined up on these rankings lately. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I should just go on the record and say I
anything.
like this movie, though.
I don't.
See, that's the thing I thought Danny and I would land closer because we actually like these films. You know
I do.
I mean?
I like all of them except number 3.
I'm going to say, honestly, after watching all 7 of these, I would only rewatch the first 2 and then maybe another one that I won't say now so we don't spoil the list. But
I was honestly surprised that you liked 2. Like when we had talked about it, that was shocking to me.
But 6 and you might as well get out of the way. 6 and 7. They both get into territory where they become like kind of cumbersome to watch. It's one of those things where you're like watching a movie and then you realize I could like fold some clothes right now, or like I need to like put some dishes up.
That's hilarious that you say that because I was watching A Cold Day in Hell today and folding clothes.
Exactly. This is classic like Saturday afternoon Sci-Fi Channel. Like let me put this on while I sweep up. And maybe like vacuum a little bit, between the scenes where I don't need to hear anything. But
like the dialogue.
Well, okay, so this is why this one's so low for me. But hang on, I'm jumping the gun here. Before we discuss the movie any further, I believe we have some stats that need to be discussed here.
Sure.
Roll stats. Tremors Cold Day in Hell, released in 2018. It's got a 5 out of 10 on IMDb with a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Sounds right.
98-minute runtime. This one's by the newer crew. This is like the new wave of Tremor movies.
Yeah.
These like last 3, you know what I mean? That's a big like they are kind of their own subset, like in my mind. My version of your this one is on Tremors: A Cold Day in Hell is definitely starting to feel a little sci-fi SYFY up in here.
Yeah.
Like you don't feel it as much in 5, but this one big time.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy.
But I have to defend it. Like in
Do it.
This is why I think it's great. Obviously, it's on the same ranking as you guys. I totally agree. It's not an awesome movie, but what I do love about this movie is the production value is pretty dope. They stick to their strengths.
Yes.
And what I'm talking about with like visuals, they stick to like one color palette, which is like bright white or blue,
that weird blue,
and it works
like Thing inspired.
Yeah, and even all of the filters, like even inside shots and everything else, like it's all like centered around. Even all their costumes are like Snow White and all that, but it plays off of the graphics really well, like for the CGI, and that's like what I like about these later films that we're talking about. Like, even though they probably don't have the most top budget CGI for it, like a great way around that is by using your lighting right, and they use their lighting right in 5, 6, and 7. Maybe not so much in 7, but in 5 and 6 they definitely have different color palettes that they work with.
Yeah, 5, 6, and 7. Well, 7's a little bit different on its own too, but they get a different like color correction thing going on, and they also are. They're just like, I don't know what the word is. They're just framed differently.
Yeah.
Whereas the other movies, they feel like 90s movies. These feel like 20 teens or whatever.
Definitely.
Well, the last 3 are all directed by Don Michael Paul, and that's why they all have like the exact same kind of feel,
framing and all that.
That makes sense. There is consistency there. Yeah.
One thing that we lose a little bit. Well, we so we have like the subset of what Tremors is in the first one, and then in the next sequels after that, we kind of get little things that came from Tremors 1, which is like, some of the dirt shots as it's moving underground, which are small. Being that these graboids are much bigger in these later sequels and stuff, I really like that you're able to see with like high def cameras, them kind of pulling out this like Jaws-esque like film way of filming something without actually showing it on camera.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like the dirt mounds get huger. You actually see like slow motion shots of like the dirt moving, and it looks like, I think they even like explode things on a track so that it looks like this thing is, chasing after something. But those like chase sequences in these new ones are actually kind of cool, and I think it's a little innovative.
When they flip that what do you call them? Storage container. There's like a storage container that they blow up in that movie. You're like, whoa, there it is.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. It's also the first like time they successfully catch one of these things.
Yeah,
cool.
That's true. There's some cool like lore I think everyone does a slightly different job. Like every movie, they introduce one more thing. The only problem is the further you go, the more it kind of like
out of things.
Well, it like breaks down on itself too. Like the logic of what a tremor is,
Yeah.
or a graboid, I should say. I'm pulling a.
Well, one of the things that the creators always kind of had, and they did it intentionally, was like they always said like, we think they could come from here, you know what I mean? But they don't really know. Like nobody really knows.
It's like
what I mean?
hinted that they're not from Earth.
I don't know. I feel like they're definitely from Earth. They're like from under the Earth. You know what I mean? Stupid.
Well, they always say in like every movie, there's like, none of this has been found in like the prehistoric fossil record or
where
anything
they're
like
Precambrian.
Precambrian.
Yeah, they're Precambrian, bro. They were early. God, I had a point to make about this, and I can't remember what it was.
Well, give us the rest of the stats. Have we gotten the...
Well, at this point, like, for the last 3, I wasn't able to find any budget information, but I do know this one made $1,479,000 in home video sales as of Wednesday when I took these notes down.
I mean, doesn't seem like that's more than...
I bet it
they
cost
didn't
more
film
to
this
make
under
that.
$1 million.
I've
No way.
made more, like twice more.
Wow, interesting.
Even Shrieker Island made more.
So 6 continues, and this is jumping around a bit because in 5 we introduce Jamie Kennedy as Little Goomer, or Little Goom as I call him. In 6 he's there, but to me, like, he doesn't really come off the same way. I think he's a little more successful in 5. Like, the character.
Yeah,
he is annoying in number 6.
Jamie Kennedy is annoying.
Just annoying, but he's less annoying in number 5.
But you know what? None of these were as bad as Kicking It Old School or Malibu Most Wanted.
Oh my gosh.
Because he was just doing that thing for a little while, which is weird. Weird career move.
In 6, the problem's also like in the writing. So like the jokes, this is the one that feels like it's written by middle school boys. Some of the humor in this movie is so dumb.
That
lot of wiener
opener
jokes.
was like,
Yes.
that too.
A lot of wiener jokes in this one.
A lot of, but like the opening
What's the
with
opener?
like
Dutch is kind of fun though. Like the guy who throws the dynamite all over the place. He's a little bit fun.
I can't stand Dutch. I was not down for Dutch.
the opening is just where they have like these scientists in the Canadian Arctic like
doing science
stuff, but
Yeah.
like they don't look like scientists. One of them straight looks like he's like from an Urban Outfitters or something like that, just wearing a cardigan
Scientists
in the
can
Canadian
shop at
Arctic.
Urban Outfitters.
But he's wearing a cardigan in
Don't
the
tell
Arctic.
scientists where
Danny,
they can shop.
Haven't you heard of global warming?
Yeah, it is 32 degrees up there when they say it. So, but I mean, they're just exchanging like typical stupid like stereotype jokes, and it's just like
They're all calling each other Yankee.
Yeah,
and,
it's like
Sheila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just stupid.
Well, in the science stuff, there's like
Some doggos though.
there
There are some doggos.
There are some good boys.
So there's a bunch of scientists in this movie. There's also like some medical people, and then there's also like this.
There's Val.
There's Val, who's like all three because she's also like a gun person.
Yeah.
But the thing in this movie that happens, and they do it so many times, is where they just have their characters reciting jargon to seem smart. Like Goomer's asking Val, like, do you know how to handle a gun? She's like, well, I shine my own brass casings and reload them with 5, 12, 13 and put it in this non-sliding
No, she
blah, blah.
say? She's like, I can drop an elk so many 100 yards and field dress it in 30 minutes or something.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
she's got another line about like sighting in her scope, and like I only sighted my scope at 100 yards.
I was sighted 2 inches high at 100 yards.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And it's like, okay, we're not being clever. Like you just like, you know, looked up someone's gun conversation on the internet and you put it in your scripts. This is adding nothing to the story.
like, hell yeah. It's the unsuccessful version of how well Primer does their dialogue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. This one, they could have just had her. You could have just done the simple and classic, like, you know what I mean?
Like she knows what she's doing.
Whenever in a movie someone's like, do you know how to use a gun? The response is, boom, like, let me load this thing up. Click.
You do like that DEA agent in the classic E-Bombs World video and shoot yourself in the leg in front of a classroom full of kids.
Yeah, that is a classic.
Where he just walks out like,
I'm okay.
Someone call an ambulance. There's also a bunch of slow motion in this movie, which is funny because these last three kind of feel like Resident Evil movies a little bit. This is the one where we learn about the Umbrella Corporation, where they're like, oh, they're using these to create bioweapons, and they're going to be selling them to. It's this evil corporation that's going to unleash this. It's like, oh, okay, well.
Oh, that's not what they were doing though.
Well, the other group of scientists were going to use them for bioweapons.
No, that's not what that's what he was accusing them of. But he was like, no. He's like, we're up here doing like a water project.
oh yeah,
I thought
they were
was
trying to
someone
create an
with
aqueduct.
bioweapons.
No.
It's insinuated.
That's what they were all thinking they were doing. You know what I mean? But then the DARPA guy's like, no, we're here trying to create an aqueduct,
That's
trying to get
right.
all this water to civilization. Like, we're not totally ethically devoid.
Okay,
like,
and-
get out of here. But then towards the end, before that guy dies and then he can't do it, he's like, that's not a bad idea. Like, these things would make great bioweapons.
And you can't trust the DARPA guy. Okay, I've played
died.
Metal Gear Solid.
You can
There's
trust
always
dead people not to do something.
There's always another DARPA guy.
Dead people just go rot. Not those DARPA guys. They're all dead.
No, there's another crew coming in. There's another helicopter DARPA guys coming in,
Good luck. They killed all the worms.
and one of them's named Albert Wesker. And that's how this goes down. But the big thing about this one that we're missing is the psychic link. That old Goomy's got like an infection. And he's like getting that he's getting
not
those
like a
visions.
psychic link. Those are his he has like a
at the
PTSD.
beginning
he was having like PTSD dreams, dude. From he's been fighting graboids for decades now.
No, but at the beginning, it seems like it could go either way. It's like, is it PTSD or is there like a graboid communicating with him in his brain? Because he's like waking up in cold sweats. But then we learned that he's just sick.
At that point, you don't know. He has like his nerves are breaking down.
Yeah, but it's not even PTSD though, too. It's like literally he's having some.
No, I'm saying
of,
that's what you think that's what it is, because that dream is like his PTSD dream that he just has now, assumedly, you know. And this guy probably dreams about being attacked by worms all the time, waking up in cold sweats. just happened. The
mean,
first like
same.
attack that this guy's having. Yeah. Dude, my brain feels so full of worms. Like I've just been worm deep these past like 2 weeks.
It was the way that it was like introduced those dreams and like him going into convulsions and being stopped and everything.
That's what they want you to think.
It didn't seem like it was PTSD dreams. It seemed like, like the alien or the graboid mother brain is underneath the ground controlling Goomer. That's what I was expecting. And then it was like, he's down with the sickness from getting swallowed in the aforementioned movie.
The worm
they bring
gave
it
him
back,
worms?
They bring it back 3 movies later, which I thought was kind of a bold move.
That was pretty cool.
That is a bold move.
But
one of the things all these movies do great is calling back and like hearkening back. They even steal like specific lines of dialogue. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's true.
They do a good job of that.
Of copying and pasting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the last maybe Frank, you watched a lot of these interviews and stuff. I feel like the last 3 movies were, particularly the last 2, were really made from like a fan of the original.
Interesting.
I mean, not really. This is just like who got hired. There's not even a ton of interviews with these guys. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Even the Tremors YouTube channel, it's very heavy on like the original crew. The still, what's her name? Nancy Roberts. She originally started out as being the agent for Brent Maddock and S.S. Wilson when they were writing a script. They all got together on Short Circuit where these guys wrote their first movie, and she met them there.
We've talked about that movie before.
Yes, we have. Go watch our T3B3 robot movies.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Plugged.
No, it's not T3B3. It's Movie Quest.
Our favorite robot movies.
Yeah.
Obviously,
That's the abridged title.
Yeah.
Very abridged. Yeah, but these are pretty much just the fans demand them, so they will be made. The Don Michael, Paul, and various writers are the ones charged with this now. But all the interviews, they're very heavy on like the original stuff. This one definitely, these seem like less a labor of love and more just like the fans want them, we'll make them, they'll buy them.
Yeah. Or in this case, just go straight to Netflix and stream.
Yeah. 2020.
Well, all these movies that have like video sales in the bank, man.
That's interesting. I wonder, like, I
Who's
guess
paying money for these?
people are going out and buying Tremors 7 on DVD.
I mean, it's probably like people who like don't have it on Netflix in other countries or something that have to like pay-per-view it or something like that, you know?
It's real life Goomers who are like, I'm not going to connect to the internet. I have to go buy this physically because I don't want the government knowing where I'm at.
Possibly.
So I could see that.
I could see that. Did you switch hats? No, I switched teams. Sorry.
No,
No, did you switch teams? Yeah, I switched hats.
So, Frank, what do you have for your next one?
Last final shout out for Code in Hell. Val, the daughter of Val and Rhonda from the original movie, hits Bert with a "You can call me Val," and I hope that was an intentional. You can call me Al. The first time I heard it, I was like, yeah, man. Woo. So. Back to business. My number 5, Tremors 5, Bloodlines.
Oh, interesting. I have a very different. 5's a few more up.
5 is
on my list.
Yeah, 5 is my number 4.
Okay.
But
So maybe time for Shrieker Island?
Shrieker Island
Actually,
is my.
Shrieker Island's my number 5.
Hey.
Whoa, we're 3 for 3 so far. This is exciting.
So was Shrieker Island your number 4 then?
Shrieker Island was my number 7, as you remember from
right.
earlier in the podcast.
I think, yes, this is a good time to get into Shrieker Island.
It makes sense. Shrieker Island 2020 release, the most recent release. That was last year for those of you who were trying to keep that out of your memory. 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, with its 103-minute runtime. This one is obviously another Don Michael Paul. He helped write it with Brian Brightly. I don't know who that is. Budget also unknown, $2,190,686 in home video sales.
I mean, compared to the previous.
It's a success, I guess.
That's pretty successful. That sounds like there's going to be a Tremors 8 is what it sounds like to me.
Well, actually,
I've heard. Yeah.
So let's get into it. And then I have like an excerpt from Wikipedia I wanted to read just because this seems very final. And we'll get into
interesting.
it.
Okay.
Probably throw out a big fat spoiler warning.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
If you
Spoiler.
have not seen Shrieker Island at this point, like I mean, don't just stop listening to this episode altogether. Pause it right now. Go watch Shrieker Island and then come back.
Yeah, this is probably the only one that has like something worth spoiling, I guess.
Yeah.
Out of all of them, right?
Big time. Because I was like,
yeah.
If you're back, Napoleon Dynamite is terrible in that movie.
Yeah.
oh my God.
Michelle and I were like, what is Jamie Kennedy doing that he couldn't be back for this third one? Like, that guy's not busy. It makes you think
maybe he's in jail or something.
Or
maybe he actually is in jail for taking mushrooms to Mexico.
Maybe he's a pain to work with too. You know what I mean? Maybe it was like, come on, you're not.
They just got annoyed.
We're doing Shrieker 7. Come on. He was pranking too much on set, and they were
Does he do that?
Well, he used to have a show, didn't he? Or am I thinking of someone else?
Did he have like a punked?
The experiment.
Oh, the Jamie Kennedy experiment or
the
something
Jamie
like
Kennedy
that, right?
Experience. Okay. Experiment. The Jamie Kennedy Experiment, a hidden camera practical joke reality show. That's what I remember this guy from the most.
So
from 2002. Oh my gosh. Can I just say, and I didn't bring this up in the last one.
Yes, you can,
but
David.
5, 6, 7. One of the biggest things, and it feels really big in this one.
The graboid?
The graboids are huge. That's true.
And they get bigger.
In 1 through 4, and not as much 4, like 1 through 3 for sure, the graboids and their subsequent, metamorphic states, they're animals, and they feel like animals, and they run to this like rule set. In 5, 6, 7, the graboids switch to being slasher movie villains.
They're like vengeance. They have vengeance.
Well, because they juiced them. They don't say what juicing is, but they juiced them. You know?
Of course. Well, but even in 5, when they're in Africa, in 5, 6, and 7, there's just little quick one-word explanations on why they're different in each one.
I kind of like the Africa thing, but we'll get to it.
The Africa one makes sense. Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get to it.
But all I'm saying is,
it's a different genus or something like, or a different.
Yeah,
there's a point though where they're not acting like animals though,
right?
And it's also like, why would they know? Whereas in the other ones, it's like they get smarter throughout. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now it's like these are totally unrelated tremors or graboids. I keep saying tremors, jeez. But. The way that they come across, it's not like in the first movie, when they're coming. There's no surprise unless it's written in a way that they have no idea. They have no like monitor. They don't have any. But in this one, it's literally like you see them lurking, and there's a bunch of like predator shots in this movie.
They're hunting like the smart raptors in the later Jurassic World movies.
Exactly.
In Shrieker Island, particularly, with like the night vision and. Yeah, I agree.
I did not like Shrieker Island.
Yeah.
Shrieker Island's pretty rough, man. Oh, man, we didn't even talk about that.
Like, I rewatched 4, 5, and 6 because I'd never seen them before. And then I was planned to rewatch 7. And as I got ready to do it, I was like,
we didn't even talk about the gun stuff in 6, like all of the people like holding their firearms.
There was some
just
bad.
Unloading.
There was a ton of like horrible like gun waste of ammo, wasting ammo.
There's also one where this guy shoots a pistol like this, like that's sideways.
David, that's how you shoot a gun.
Slightly upside down.
Everybody knows. It's not even like a bullet will kill you if you shoot it extra cool.
Yeah,
like it's way deadlier if you.
But there is that
cool
scene like you guys are talking about in Cold Day in Hell where they like straight up open a floorboard in like the trailer they're in, and everyone's just unloading into dirt. Unloading everything, something that goes totally against Burt Gummer.
For those of you that know, dirt's super good at stopping bullets.
This is a question,
especially Arctic dirt.
Frozen dirt. There's some cold dirt.
Tremors 7 is the island one. That's why they're going so hard on Predator too, because it's like a tropical setting. But there's also this thing about it's privately owned, but there's also like native inhabitants. And it makes you wonder, how much of this island does this guy own? How many islands are being sold that have native inhabitants? And then I was like, oh, well.
That doesn't sound too far off.
Yeah. That sounds like...
I thought that guy just owned that one little island, and the inhabitants were over where this... why are these other people here?
Yeah.
They're researching
It's a little muddy in this one.
Why the hell are those people even here?
I feel like the setup in this one is the thinnest of all of them, where it's to the point where it's like...
I actually, when they start like talking about Travis, I restarted this movie on my original and only watch ever that I will ever have an experience in my life. I kept going back to the beginning because I was like, okay, I obviously missed something here because I'm like doing chores during this. Like I missed some piece of dialogue, and it took me a couple of rewatches of the first 10 minutes to be like, I didn't miss anything. These guys just suck at writing this movie.
Yeah,
it's like the Night King is like this Uber hunter who like has his own island
King.
where he like takes rich people out to like hunt dangerous game, but now they're hunting graboids, right? Because he's like chained up graboids, or he's like, you know, he's tracking graboids, but he's done it on his own island that he owns.
Well, he birthed them, you know what I mean? They did some kind of like genetic splicing to these. They juiced them. You juice the worms? What juice?
Yeah,
What juice? Cranapple? There's a lot of sugar in that. You can't be giving that to baby juice.
You should have said milk the worms.
You milk the worms? That's a different thing. That's a totally we're talking about a different island
to get them,
altogether.
he had to milk a worm. If you think about it.
Well, it's like they're
that guy
eggs.
with his gross teeth.
They're eggs that lay dormant for 300 years before they hatch. So
unless under particular circumstances,
unless our movie needs it to be sooner.
The rules of the graboids are like, as we were discussing before we started recording, the rules of English. Like there's a lot of exceptions and clauses, and yeah, it's all over the place.
Sometimes they're the same thing, but they're not.
Yeah,
you know.
And in special cases, what?
Well, this guy who's the Night King, he's also the chemist in Mandy. Why they gotta be like that? I love it. He's actually a really cool villain. Like, his personage, like he's got a good voice for it, and the way he looks.
He might be the best part of the movie, actually. Now that I think about it. That crazy like scream he does when he's taking a bath in the like river, and that guy's like on the bridge pooping himself, guarding him. It's so good.
One thing I hate about this movie, you know, Goomer is just like, this is the 7th movie. He's been in so many of these. And he's been the only guy who's in all of them. And in this movie, I mean, they've done it for the past couple, but there's so much dialogue about like, oh, well, he's a legend. Oh, he's like a superhero.
The graboid hunter. Yeah.
It's like, wow, you, how many movies do you see where like they have to talk up the person in it? It's not like when you watch Spider-Man, everyone's like, "Oh, Spidey, he's the best superhero. Well, he's so fast. Have you seen Spider-Man? He's incredible." It's like, okay,
yeah,
we know this as the audience.
He's the Amazing Spider-Man. I'm aware, but not every movie franchise's hero is like an old man who was also one of the nicest fathers on American television.
You've never seen Taken? No, I'm joking. Oh, he didn't have a TV show.
I actually only seen Taken 2. I didn't see the first one.
Really? I've only seen Taken 1.
I've seen Taken to the Streets.
Can you guys help me out with this? Did the Shriekers have a new power in this movie? Did they have a supersonic blast in the previous movies?
No, this was the first one with the supersonic.
Because they juiced.
That's from the juice, baby.
Because they're juice. That's what you get with that juice.
Yeah.
Are we talking about OJ now?
The juice. Oh my goodness. He also allegedly pretty good at murdering.
Also got his COVID vaccine. Like they got OJ up on the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Football players are up there.
What are you gonna do?
Even
the murderers. Even the retired murderers. Okay, should we just talk about the ending here?
Yeah. How did it end? Oh, with the dramatic like slow walk.
Well, Burt Gummer's. Go ahead.
Well, they pull this thing where it's so melodramatic, Gummer getting eaten, that you're like, there's no way they're killing the Goom. He's gonna like slice his way out of this worm
until they do the like slow up pan on like his grave.
On his hat.
And then they're doing that, and I'm expecting like the Evil Dead like hand out of the grave. I'm still waiting for it. And no, they kill old Goom.
Or
do
they?
Of Burt Gummer.
They just say his body's never found.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's hard to be found when you're graboid poop.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
underground.
And it's like I would like if he was dead, because it's a fitting end for a man who like fought his whole life against like graboids. Like that's how he should die. Like,
and the government.
Graboid and the government.
So then the end of the movie, the credits, they like hit you with this like montage of just Goomer moments from throughout the movies, and it's set to this like super sad like melancholic song, reflective, but then like the scenes that they're showing are just this guy like with machine guns like blowing things
covered
up
in goop.
It's like, what is this? Totally doesn't make any sense, but it's because there's no shots of him being like reflective in any of these movies.
That's not who Burt Gummer is.
I was gonna say, I gotta be honest, like as a total fan of this series, even though it's such a hyperbolic series, like I actually got a little sad watching that.
I got you. Yeah, I'll hold you if you need me to, because I was there too.
I got a little sad, and I was like, I love Burt Gummer.
I love Burt Gummer so much. Like as a kid, I wanted to be Burt Gummer when I grew up. The first time I saw his wall of guns, I was like, one day
And it wasn't just because he was married to Reba McEntire.
Not even just that, you know what I mean? Not even just that. But oh boy, what a fantastic like character. Thank you, Michael Gross, for giving
That man,
us Burt Gummer.
you know what I mean? Like,
Michael Gross should be thanking you guys for giving him work for the last 20 years.
he's been gone on record saying he loves it. Like,
Yeah.
he loves doing it. You know what I mean? Like,
you got to, you know what I mean?
I mean, he
This
hasn't
is-
had much of a career past that. But
This
like,
is the
this
opposite.
is his career.
This is the opposite of a Radiohead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you just embrace Creep. It'd be like if Radiohead only played Creep and didn't put out any new music.
They just put out other music that was Creep.
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
revisited.
Slightly arranged.
Love it.
So I mean, like,
This is my Fast and Furious.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were we talking about? The same people that watch Fast and Furious are the same people that watch Resident Evil franchise?
Yeah.
This is our Resident Evil franchise too. This
Yeah.
is like,
Fair enough, I think.
you know?
Yeah.
It's bad and I love it.
God, I love it so much.
It's bad, and I'm almost there. Like I didn't hate any of them except for
7.
well, you know, the more I look at the list, the more I'm like, the bottom like 4 of them, like the bottom 4 were gonna. Oh,
Well,
no.
honestly, when I say like I love them, and when I'm speaking all these high praises, and when I say Tremors, I'm referring to the first 4. Like really, you know what I mean? Like 5, 6, and 7, they're kind of in their own category for
Totally.
me. Like they were the continuation of Tremors. You know what I mean? It just happens to like star this Burt Gummer person now.
Yeah.
He is like the main focus.
Oh yeah. I think if Michael Gross wasn't there, it wouldn't have done anything.
Because 6, 7, never again. 5, like there's some stuff that I like.
That should probably bring us to our
Yeah. What'd you got?
Oh,
Next,
actually,
right?
like
Stat Daddy.
Yeah, well, I already hit the stats
Yeah.
on Shrieker Island, but talking about the finality of everything and the death of Burt Gummer,
yes.
I have this little chunk from Wikipedia. .com for those of you unfamiliar, have never heard of Wikipedia before.
It's actually .org, isn't it?
Wikipedia.wikipedia. In a
Wikipedia.wiki.
.gov.
So in this podcast with Bloody Disgusting, Michael Gross was talking about how much he loved the part and he embodied the whole thing. And he says that the door is still open for an 8th Tremors. It may seem unlikely, but there were, and if it were an interesting story, what? It may seem unlikely, but what people say on the screen, but it is possible. There could be an 8th, and if there were, it would make an interesting story. I would be up for it because Burt is always a great deal of fun. It would depend on his physicality, how much they want me to do. It's another 2 years and I'll be 75 years
Oh my
old.
goodness.
And that's why you got to talk about that hero, because he's an old man.
Yeah.
They were like expecting him to actually die in real life, like
Oh.
after this movie. So they were like, let's write off a really melancholic scene.
Dang.
So he says he's just hoping and praying that he'll stay in shape, and if they call, he'll answer. Says like it could happen.
The hero
but I'm
we
also like
need.
an
He
old
is a
man.
hero. I would love to see another one because they need to correct that Shrieker Island.
No more Tremors.
Yo,
No mas.
I want
this
one.
is
Don't
this
do it.
is the.
I want another.
It's not gonna go up. That's the problem. If you look at the slope of this thing, it's just like it's gone past the point of no return.
The squeeze has been squoze.
If you
on
want,
Tremors.
if you want to be 8, if you want to get to 8, if you want to shoot to the moon, you got to get
Always to the moon.
You got to get old Kevin Hamon back in here.
Oh yeah, dude,
That's what
that
you
would
need
be
back in here.
next
Kevin
level.
Hamon.
That would be, or what's that other guy? That,
Fred.
yeah,
A stare.
Definitely not Fred Astaire.
Fred something.
Ward.
Durst?
Fred Ward.
Fred Ward. Right.
No, I don't think you need to bring that guy back. I really
Ward.
after Tremors 2, I was like, this guy, he was really working off Kevin Bacon
Does
quite
he
a bit.
still act?
No. He validates parking.
Aw.
So rude. I love it. Oh my God. Danny, I believe that takes
Yeah.
us to your number 4.
What's number
is where
4?
we are?
Well, I feel like we might have an idea. It's going to be Tremors 5 Bloodlines 2015.
I have 4.
Oh, that's yours?
We were so
Your
close.
Tremors 4?
We were so close to
I mean,
the perfect match.
What's yours, Frank? Then I'll know what to... What's your number 4?
I had Bloodlines for my number 5.
Oh.
So
So Bloodlines makes the most sense here?
yeah.
I'm totally
Mike
okay
could.
with that. Let's do it.
I'm surprised you have Bloodlines further up there. Let me just say.
Just by one. just by one space.
So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a weird concession. because I could go either way. I like Bloodlines pretty much just as much as I love Tremors 4. But honestly, I really was surprised by how much I like Bloodlines.
Me too.
Yeah, Bloodlines was surprising to me. It gave me a little bit of hope for what was coming, and then that hope died.
5. So Danny pitched this idea because he had just blown through all of them, and I was like,
Twice.
yes, I love the original stuff. Let's go. He was adamant that the turn went back up, and this is the point where I was like, man, maybe Danny might not be an idiot. And then halfway through 6, I was like, I knew this guy was an idiot.
Got me.
Yeah.
So this guy's recommending Tremors 7, but he hates on the Warriors. What's going on here?
That's a fair point. Let's just say I was right with Bloodlines.
Tremors,
Yeah, Bloodlines, I was like, oh man, this guy might be smarter than I give him credit for.
Tremors 5 is also called "This Is Africa" because that's like the line that's quoted in this movie, or the way that they write out any explanation of anything.
Well, weren't you also saying this is Resident Evil 5?
Well, this one is like Resident Evil 5, which, you know, to be honest, I got this a little bit mixed up because in 6 they go so much on this BOW side, the bioweapon side track. It's a red herring, but in 5 it's also the saturation of the movie.
Yeah,
because this is the first time you get that different
well, it's real hot in Africa, David.
you get that different color correction,
orange, red,
but it looks like Resident Evil 5, and
Definitely.
I just played it. I was like, wow, this is we could edit them together, you know what I mean? The last Resident Evil movie and this, and this, you can make something.
Well, you can edit it together. Let me know if you need any sound work.
Oh, I'll let you know.
I think it was honestly interesting just seeing like it back on screen, just seeing Tremors back on screen after so long. The last one was in 2004. It's like 11 years.
This is a big break.
Yeah, of a time. And I was just like, can they do it? And watching it, I was like, this is such a different look for Tremors. And I know we were talking about them like kind of changing what wasn't broken with like going CGI, like definitely CGI leading on this one. But I mean, the character design was, the monster design was really cool, I thought. I really liked that there was like a subspecies of the graboids, and even the evolutionary like branches off of that were really cool. Like the Shriekers were much more crazy looking. The ABs were like actually scary.
I love what they did with the evolutionary stuff.
They look great.
They look like Resident Evil monsters.
Yeah, they do.
It's so
Just
crazy.
giant mouths and stuff.
The giant skeleton that those archaeologists find like in the ground.
yeah.
That thing's so dope.
And the graboids in general are just massive, and it kind of changes the game.
God, I love the way they hunt too. They make that change where they're leaner, you know what I mean? So the way that they hunt these faster African animals is they like track, but then they do this whale launch out of the ground, this crazy spinning turn, and devour them,
and that's part of their hunting technique.
Love it.
So cool.
Love that.
And this is another introduction of like what I was talking about in Cold Day in Hell with like chase scenes. Like you got the high def cameras now. There's a little bit more slow mo, but like they really amp it up because of the size of the graboids. Like it just looks cool. I don't know. It definitely like begins what's gonna happen with the next 3 movies, obviously, but. Aside from that, like the story is decent. It's like you know what I mean? It's like a long lost son story, but it actually works.
Yeah. Before we get too much far into it, because there's a lot of good stuff in this one, honestly. 2015 release, as Danny mentioned, 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb. 36% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I feel like is unjust, honestly.
Yeah, that's too low.
99 minutes. 50. You shut up over there, poopy pants. Never shut up.
You gotta let the people know.
We love your poopy pants.
You gotta let the people know.
The other poopy pants need to know that this is one not for them. No. I wouldn't even say suspension of disbelief. Just like it's either for you or it's not.
And it's a certain like not to insult anymore here, but. It's not even B horror. It's like C horror.
Yeah.
It's a different. It's like Sci-Fi Channel. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
If you dig a Sharknado, you'll like Tremors 5 through 7.
True. This is definitely where you feel like I put it down as like the soul change. The like soul changes in these last 3 movies. And it's like it's always been like not even campy horror, like a really ridiculous horror. With like comic relief, and the comic relief is I feel like feels further away from the original movies on this one than the horror does. The horror lands a little bit closer, but I feel like the comedic tone is very different. Big shift. And this is the first one by Don Michael Paul. This is where he like takes the ship. Another unknown budget. This one did closer to Shrieker Island with 2,627,000.
Okay.
I'd say a good turnaround
That ain't bad.
for like an old franchise. That
Yeah.
probably a whole new generation didn't even know about.
Well, and I think, this one probably had all the good faith still. There were people who were waiting for it to come back. I have a problem with some of the some of the choices in this movie, like as far as
You don't
like,
say.
as like filming it goes. Like in the very first scene, we have like a graboid, and you can see the Premiere stock effects in full work. Like you see the little steam things coming out, and it looks so bad. It looks like it literally looks like a plugin. It looks like something that's built into Premiere. If you're like video editing, and you're just like, I need to add steam. I'll even add some right here.
Yeah.
And then let me like cut to the trimmer scene so you guys can see what I'm
waiting
talking
for that
about.
in the editing.
I will. I'm gonna do it. Frank, write down that time for me if you don't mind. Save me a little bit of time. Anyway,
I got you, bud. Thank you for reminding me for my listen tomorrow.
but the other thing is, there's a scene where this couple is, getting it on in an outdoor shower. In an outdoor shower. And then this is what I was talking about earlier, where this now feels like a slasher movie and not like, creatures not a creature feature, but like Jason, but he's buried in the dirt.
And it has no eye.
Because the graboid just comes out and you can't tell what's happening because the camera is so close and the editing just gets insane in this movie. They're just like cutting really quick. They're trying to hide that nothing is happening in the scene, that they just have people like flailing around.
Make some puppets, people.
Yeah, this movie needed some puppets. It didn't have to be the whole thing, but a couple of these scenes could have really benefited from those tentacles coming out and all that good stuff.
Yep.
No, you would need that HBO money.
And then I'm going to be honest here. I put down here in this, I put down here my notes, bridge scene. Graboids have become the slasher villain, not an animal. I don't remember the bridge scene. I don't remember there being a bridge scene. There's something where they're getting chased onto a bridge, and then
Man, I kind of vaguely sounds familiar.
I'm just going to be honest. I watched these movies. That long
It's
ago.
because you're confusing yourself because it wasn't a graboid. It was a shrieker.
That's what's going on.
And it's when Michael Gross is with the original South African guy we get, the one who's always wearing the goggles. He's like a super like badass. He takes him out there, and the shrieker is like stalking him. It's like instead of like they've always like seen their prey, shrieked, attack, but this one's like up on the bridge, like stalking him. You see him in the lightning strikes.
That's right.
Yes,
yeah.
that's right. Okay, yeah, this is coming back now. That's exactly it. And that for sure happens in a Halloween movie. You know what I mean? Like you see Michael just off in the distance in the lighting. Man, I don't know. I don't know if I have much more in this movie other than, and this is one other thing. You have Goomer. You know that he's a gun nut. That's like his character. He doesn't want to pay taxes. He wants his guns. And he's a man who has a tool for the job and knows how to use his tools. That's what he's all about.
And he's never given
the proper
critical
intel.
need to know information. It never gets to Burt Gummer.
Never gets to him. But there's a scene where this graboid comes out of the dirt and is flying over, or maybe it's one of the flying ones. I don't know. Who knows? Who cares? But
we care.
He decides to take this like automatic rifle, and he's aiming at this thing that's flying in the air like yards away, and he's shooting from the hip. It's like, you're telling me Burt Gummer's not gonna like aim his gun? You're telling me this guy is gonna be like, nah, this is more effective. And he's like literally like bending over backwards a little bit. It's the most nonsensical.
Is that at the tail end?
It is at the tail end. It's right before the end of it. He's trying to protect someone from getting hit.
God, I wish I remember which gun he was using. Was it just a regular like chain-fed machine gun? Was it a minigun?
No,
they're using something.
And the other problem is too, there's so many guns in these movies that I can't keep track.
Honestly, with a big type of machine gun like that, like.
But I don't even think, you know what, a machine gun's the wrong word. It's like a fully automatic rifle would be the better way to describe it.
God, I really don't remember what he had.
But it's just like, no, this guy would be aiming. This guy, first off, he would know better than to like twist his body backwards while shooting a gun.
That's just not good for your back. He's an old man.
He's going to like get down on one knee and like bop, bop, bop. You know what I mean? Take a shot.
He might have a little bit of heat stroke from being stuck in that cage and getting peed on by that lion.
Yeah, the cage thing is pretty funny.
There's
some funny
also,
stuff
the pilot's fantastic.
Yes.
That crazy bush English pilot. Love that guy.
And Jamie Kennedy is really funny in this movie.
Which is a strange thing to say.
He's more than I thought.
I enjoyed him more than I did, and he's definitely better than he is in his second. I felt like it was a good time to pick up perfect role for Pauly Shore. Why didn't anybody call Pauly?
Oh man, that'd have been
somebody
great.
call Pauly.
Honestly,
we need to write a movie.
Watching like the first like 15, we need to. We watching the first 20 minutes or 15-20 minutes. I was like, this is Pauly Shore's role.
would have been perfect for him.
Why isn't he here?
What's up, Graboids?
He's already has action experience. He was in the army now.
No more weaseling. No weaseling. They'll hear you.
Just the rooster.
There's an issue, like if you were to take all of the leads, because most Tremors movies, it's like a buddy cop almost situation. There's
there's that bond, that back and forth,
and it's usually like
that
older man, younger man. That's usually the scenario. If you were to like rank all of those performers,
it sounds like a fancy hotel and they're like a Republican like rally
of some sort.
Yeah.
If you rank all those performers, Jamie Kennedy's like number 4, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Jamie Kennedy's like out of 8 movies, he's like the 4th best performance you have, or 7 movies. Sorry.
Burt Goomer.
Yeah.
You got
Kevin Bacon.
Burt Goomer is S tier in the Tremors.
Fred Ward.
And then
Jamie Kennedy. None of those other guys are making it above Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah, because Jack sucks.
Yeah.
The like taxi driver guy sucks.
Wait, no. We're giving a lot of less credit to Walter Chang.
Walter Chang's fantastic, but he dies.
Yeah, but he's good.
But he's not at the same level of character, I don't think. He's not one of the
Takuma's pretty good. The Indian guy
is pretty good.
Takuma's pretty good.
He's all right. I don't know if he's better than Jamie Kennedy in this movie, which honestly, I didn't see myself in 2021 defending a Jamie Kennedy performance, but here we are.
Here we are on
what are you gonna do?
Uninformed movie.
You know what?
reviews.
I will agree that a lot of stuff that made it to the movie is funny, but you watch the bloopers and outtakes for Tremors 5 Bloodlines and you'll go right back to hating Jamie Kennedy.
Oh my god.
Trust me, my friend.
Is it that bad?
Yeah, it's exactly however bad you thought he was going to do when you were like, what, Jamie Kennedy's in this one? It's because they cut it all out and put it in the blooper reel.
He's annoying.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
It's probably why they didn't ask him to
I
come
would
back.
like to give props to the South African actress who plays, man, I can't remember the character's name, but the main like vet like at the rescue for putting up with him and laughing like at his jokes.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Also,
very professional.
Could we talk about Chekhov's electricity worm device? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have an electric underground volt. What do you even call this thing? In the beginning of the movie, you see this little girl playing with like a pile of dirt, and she's like sticking these metal probes in there.
Yeah, she's rigged a way to shock the ground and get the worms out.
Exactly.
I don't know if that works, but I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, but it's introduced in the first like 15 minutes of the movie as if like we don't recognize as an audience. Oh, wait a second. There's giant worms in this movie, isn't there? It's like, well, obviously this is what these guys are falling back on. Why'd you even need to set it up?
The first time they do it, I was like, okay, like, I guess I'll just wait for you to do that at the end.
Yeah, exactly. It's so silly.
But I do like the guy who plays that Van Wyck. I feel like his character is pretty solid for what he is. Even when he comes out stumbling all messed up and missing a finger, he's still trying to like remain proper, and he's got his cigar in his mouth still. I really like that character.
These movies
pretty good.
Have really blended together in my brain now.
There's always some cartoonish bad guy in every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, my brain felt so muddy and like clouded like yesterday at like the tail end of my research, but it all feels so clear to me now. Really love these.
I'm
movies.
really glad you did all that research.
Yeah, someone
really fell on that sword for us.
Love it. I had a fantastic time. This is.
I mean, I am gonna
watch.
have to go ahead and see the bloodlines bloopers.
I'm gonna miss this research phase when we're in the garbage hours of the upcoming Shyamalan episode.
Oh man! Oh, don't remind me. It's gonna be so bad.
Well, y'all, I'm gonna be honest though. Like, well, no, Lady in the Water is worse than Tremor 7.
Is it worse than Last Airbender?
I've never seen Last Airbender. That's actually the only one I haven't watched. So it is supposed to be.
Would you rather watch?
Would you
rather watch Tremors 3 or After Earth again?
Tremors 3.
And I'll ask you this question again during the Shyamalan ranking.
You know what?
For me, it's easy. Yeah.
Let me answer once I've seen After Earth the second time. Then I'll know for sure.
No, just interested. What's your answer now?
Right
and then we'll
now?
get your answer again.
We went to go see After Earth.
It's a funny question because you have to watch After Earth again.
Honestly, I'd rather watch After Earth than Tremors 3.
Oh my god!
Tremors
That's a
3,
bold statement.
Tremors 3 was so unbearable. There was a point in the movie where I got angry. Where I was like, "Why am I watching this right now?
I've got so many things to do."
This is life. This is time I'm never getting back."
Man, that's so funny, man. I finished watching Tremors 3 and I was like, well, I'll just watch 4 right now.
Dude. Yeah, I would much rather watch Tremors 3. After Earth is time I will never get back.
Well,
We're about to lose that time all over again.
You're going to lose one more time.
God.
Okay, so I guess this brings us to our number 3. We're getting down to it, which mine was 5. This is Africa. But now it's going to be number 4, the Western one.
For 4?
For 3.
For 3?
Pew, pew.
That's my number 3 as well.
Hey,
The Legend Begins.
Nice,
the legend
nice.
begins.
Okay, so you know what? I'm pretty
I got
sure.
confused because my number 4 got bumped way down.
I'm just calling it right now that I know what the top 2 are going to be.
Obviously.
I'm pretty excited.
Like when I did the top 3, honestly, I was like, no, these are the correct answers.
Easy. Yeah.
This is the closest I've ever been. Like
I am surprised that you guys had Tremors 4 this high up, though. I will say.
I'm not.
4. No, I mean 4. Well, 4 has some delightful stuff in it. Like you still have that original. You still have that original idea of Tremors. It hasn't gone into this, other interpretation like in 5, 6, and 7.
Well, this is the final run for the OG, like hearts and brains behind Tremors.
And then there's some like really clever stuff in this movie, like especially what they do with Goomer, with good old Gummer here. It's it's fun. It's just fun. But I guess before we get into it too much further, you should hit those numbers, right?
Here come the numbers rolling in like a train to the town with bags of like beans and rice and stuff that you get in the Old West. Gunpowder, probably. 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 33% on Rotten Tomatoes, 101 minute runtime, made on a budget of $4 million. And I got to say, for $4 million,
Wow.
Great job, guys.
Yeah.
Fantastic job.
Good cast.
Yeah, good
I gotta
cast.
say.
And this one's directed by the one of the original writers, S.S. Wilson, the aforementioned S.S. Wilson.
This movie, after going back to it, after being an adult and stuff, I watched it when I was a kid, but like being an adult and going back to it after all of the gaming that I've done really makes me think that this like could have been a side mission in Red Dead Redemption, like you were saying,
would've
dude.
been so nice.
Like this
That'd be
entire
pretty
movie,
sick.
particularly, you know what I mean? Like just stumbling upon a small desert town, and it's just like being plagued by graboids would be a super cool side mission in Red Dead Redemption.
Well, there was actually going to be a Tremors game for GameCube, and it got canceled.
What?
Yeah, it got canceled before it even really got off the ground. So
That would have
there's
been amazing.
there's not even anything. You can't even like
Before it really
no
came
assets or-
out of the ground.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. 4 is set in the Old West. It's like a prequel. It's as prequel as you can get. Where you get Gummer's like what would he be? Great grandfather or something like that?
Yeah. What was his name? Hiram
Gummer.
Yeah.
Gummer.
Except he's not the crazy gun action star.
No, he's a highfalutin man from the East.
And he's not even really highfalutin anymore. He's like
He carries a little pea shooter.
Well, he
is
he
in his
is
heart.
highfalutin in his heart. He just has
Not
not,
in his-
the funds.
not in his pocketbook.
Yeah.
He's not highfalutin anymore. This whole thing is basically like there's a mine in Perfection. Perfection is somehow bigger in the 1800s than it is in like the 90s.
That's true. It was a booming gold town,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Silver, I
Well,
think?
that's how it happens.
Silver.
The mine dries up and
And then everything.
people leave.
you just have like 5 families living there.
And then basically,
Well, like 7 families and then worms and then like 5 families.
the worms, they attack the mine, and it's on Valentine's Day. And that's more or less this one. You just have Goomer playing opposite because now he's kind of like cowardly,
And everybody else has guns.
and everyone else has guns. Yeah, and
Even the
he's,
little kid has his slingshot all the time.
he's even
Ne-
opposed.
This is the West. Never go out unarmed.
Yeah.
The little kid is Walter Chang. Isn't it?
No.
Or is it his grandpa?
Yeah,
or
it's
his
got to be
dad?
like his grandpa, you know what I mean? Or something.
I think it's his dad because Walter Chang's like pretty old.
I was gonna say that guy in the 90s wasn't born in the 1800s.
No. It's got to be his dad. I think it's his dad.
Maybe his grandpa. I don't know. Even dad might be.
Yeah, that's what I'm
too.
saying. It's got to be like grandpa or even great grandpa.
Yeah.
Because it's like turn of the century, right? Like 1880s.
Is it? See, I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, but also like it was the turn of the century in 1880s. So I mean, like those people probably lived to a ripe old age of like 40. You know what I mean?
That guy
So
died
like
in 1920.
Yeah.
So then that would be Walter Chang's dad. Because like Walter Chang was probably born in like 1930. In 1990,
So if he died in
damn.
1920, how was he born 10 years later in 1930?
What?
We just said this guy probably died in 1920. You're like, yeah, he was born in 1930.
Well, yeah, full pregnancy term, that's like 9 years, right?
Well, either we're arguing about something that really doesn't matter. And to be honest, we just put more thought into this than the writers probably did. This is one where the Tremors start to feel a little bit different, where they're kind of getting away from the animalistic nature of the first three. There's especially a scene where when they're out graboid hunting, because that's the plot of all these movies, that they're staying in this little shack to sleep. And for some reason, the little snake tongue tentacles come into the shack in the middle of the night, and no one's making any noise. They're just sleeping.
Somebody probably had some sleep toots.
Or some snores.
You're a
Sleep
cowboy
toots.
eating all those campfire beans.
That's
you got
true.
some sleep toots.
That might be what it is. But that really just threw me off, because immediately it was like, well, the logic of this movie is kind of like,
Illogical?
yeah, it would be different if like they were riding the horses, just got there, and then the graboids show up. But it starts to become more about like the set piece than the logic.
Yeah.
Where in especially the first movie, one of the coolest things is just how logical the whole movie is, where everything fits so tight. It feels really good. That just that was a little bit of a bummer. And then also, man, this stupid bicycle in this movie, this like huffy bike that they spray painted black to like just look
With one
old.
big wheel and like one little.
There's a sticker
No, it's
on
not
it,
even
man.
a bicentennial. Yeah.
There's a sticker on the front of it. There's squishy handles. There's like rubberized handles on the
David, were
handlebars.
you alive in the 1800s?
Yes.
Do you know what the bikes were like?
Yes, I was. No.
Are you your own grandfather?
Yes,
Did we
I
figure
am.
out how this works?
It's a Philip J. Fry
Man,
scenario.
I thought I had like Googled some weird stuff before, but looking for Hiram Gunner's bicycle.
Dude, that's a kind of fun band name. Hiram Gunner's bicycle.
Hiram. No one will ever get it right.
Yeah. Then there's so many fun misspellings on flyers.
Yeah.
I really like the addition that they do with like the missing link and the molting. The whole like molting aspect, that's pretty cool. When they do that. I do really like that this is the first Tremors movie we get a beheading in. That's pretty fun. And then what you said, this wasn't in my notes, but you made me think of it when you were talking about like how they start feeling a little bit serial killerish in this one. Something happens, and I can't remember specifically what it was, but one of the characters is just like, did he do that on purpose? Like, are these things smarter than we think they are? And part of that is just because like they have no idea what's going on.
And it's also though, like in the first couple of movies, because they're in chronological order, you can kind of buy that the Tremors are getting smarter.
Yeah.
But in this one, when you kick it all the way back to the Wild West, it's like this is probably the first time they've encountered humans trying to kill them.
Dumb worms, you know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
they should be the dumbest they've ever been. They should be falling for the easiest tricks in the book. So I don't know, but I mean, can you really get on Tremors for continuity issues? You know, like
no, you can't.
Worm movie?
You
What are
can't.
you
If
gonna
you
do?
try to, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, my giant worm movie's not smart enough.
I like that they make the town. This is one of there's a couple of my, like, I listed a few of my favorite things about this movie.
That was nice.
Yeah, thank you. I just felt it. Fred is the town drunk in this one, just like the first one, and Fred dies again.
Yeah,
Man, poor Fred. Fred can't catch a break.
that's rough.
So I was like, when first they were like, when this is like Fred the town drunk, I was like, how weird. This is like that great grand like son of whoever, you know what I mean? However we figured out that math works. But then when he was dead, I was like, oh, I guess not. I guess that's not how that one worked. It was just a coincidence.
I cannot find Hiram Gummer's bicycle.
Yeah, if anything, we're learning the Tremors.
Try Bicycle Tremors 4.
Okay,
See
yeah,
if
there
you
we
can
go.
do that.
I'm too specific.
Also, best joke in the entire movie is when they're trying to make their last stand, and God, what is his name? Jaime Juan.
Being racist over here.
I
think
just
it-
can't
I think
remember
it
what
is
it is,
Juan
but it's like I know it's a J.
Jose.
Yeah.
Juan Padilla,
I think it's Juan Padilla.
Jalapeno Padilla.
Wow. Wow. You're lucky we're all Hispanic.
Juan Padilla. It is Juan Padilla.
Juan Padilla. Juan Padilla. He's like, it'll be our Alamo, and Hiram's like, we lost at the Alamo. And Juan's just like, speak for yourself, gringo.
Oh, that is good. That is good stuff.
It's like, I should be angry because I'm from Texas, but that was
you know what?
fantastic.
I think I found it. I think I found the bicycle.
Oh, breaking news: the bicycle has been
Bicycle's
found.
been
Wait, no, I can't. I can't enlarge it.
It's something else, man. You should just send it to us.
That is a straight up. That's just a bicycle.
It's like a
that-
bicycle
it's like
they
a
bought
new
at
bicycle.
Kmart,
Yeah.
and then they like spray painted it. And then
Like
they
I'm
were
pretty sure it did not have spokes like that.
Like one of your neighbors has a bicycle just like that in their backyard right now.
I just don't get why they couldn't have taken the sticker off the bike, or why they couldn't have just removed the rubber handles. But again, too much to ask, maybe.
Too much to ask.
Too much to ask. Well, I feel like we should cap these off here. We're almost there, right? And
Yeah, I think that's the last thing I'll say about Tremors 4 is the first time I tried to watch it, like as a teenager, I got a little bit into it and I was like, no, we're not doing this. And I just stopped and I let it lay dormant forever. Luckily, Danny resurrected it this one. And I really enjoyed Tremors 4 this time around. I was like kicking myself like, damn, I should have just like stuck it through.
For me, I was just like, man, this movie's so stupid. But then I was also like, but it's fun.
God, it's
I was
fun.
like, it's really fun. It's good to see like a fresh take on it.
Plus, like the gunslinger they get is an actual like he would always play villains in like westerns, so he like fit into that role very well.
That's
that
pretty
guy
cool.
does great.
he was also in Charmed.
Black Hand Kelly.
That's funny.
Well, I don't even know if we need to announce number 2. We all picked Tremors 2, Aftershock.
Aftershocks, 1996 release, scoring a sex.
Who's scoring a sex?
What? I'm
I
sorry.
had to pause after the slip because I was like, just let that hang there for a minute.
Scoring a sex.
I could probably I left enough air where I could put a nice delay on it. That'll be nice. Got a 6 out of 10 on IMDb, 50% of Rotten Tomatoes, and a 100-minute runtime. I'm just really excited because we're all back together again, and I know it's about to happen when we're done recording here and we turn the camera off.
Wow.
Budget of $4 million, released straight to video / Laserdisc because of 1996.
Wow.
Laserdisc.
Imagine having the laser disc of Tremors 2.
I want to know how much that's worth. You guys go ahead. I'm gonna look on eBay.
So
$3.
I'm gonna hit us with a little bit of like just a tiny little bit of production fact. Originally, they wanted to make like a Tremors 2. They wrote the script. Universal was like, nah, you guys barely made any money on the last one, and it just kind of like got put there. Where Tremors really takes off is in like the rental video market. This thing gets rented over and over again. The studio catches wind of like the original like releases, newfound like success. And then they moved it to their like straight to video division, and that's how it kind of got its second wind. They canned it after they like gave like when they were getting ready to release it, they were even considering doing like a theatrical release after they got some really positive reviews like in some screen testing. But ultimately it was just deemed like too expensive to risk it. They were like, nah, we're not risking a whole bunch of money on this worm movie, forever sealing the Graboid's fate in straight to video releases.
Well, probably where it belongs though.
Yeah. The only reason this movie really got made at the end is some big moves made by the team behind the Worms, Maddock and Wilson. A ton of the crew members agreed to like way lower pays, and this is Wilson's first directing of the series because he just offered to do it for no extra pay to like save money.
Wow.
These guys like really made it happen. One of the things Maddox said, and when he was talking about when they were getting ready to do production and everything on this movie, was like the fans want it, and the fans gave us so much love. Like they don't just deserve a sequel, but they deserve like our very best effort. Like let's give the fans like everything they deserve. So this one's still like a huge labor of love for these guys in the second film.
It shows.
Boy, do you really feel it.
Yeah, it really shows. And just an update that the Tremors 2 Aftershocks Laserdisc in fine condition, very good condition, in fact, is $13.95.
Oh, okay.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. Frame that, put it on your wall, Danny.
Yeah, there you go.
Tremors 2, it's got that low budget feel. I mean, we've already gone over the numbers. You can see it though in the movie, but it still kind of works. It's still a little charming. You still get some nice puppet stuff with the Shriekers, which are introduced in this movie. Although there is some CGI, but they like do it at night. They pull a Godzilla or a Pacific Rim. All the big CGI stuff's in darkness. Man,
and fun fact about that night scene, that machine gun turret that guy that bird is like strapped into is an actual working machine gun turret. They have it hooked up to batteries. That is him like actually shooting and moving that thing. There are no wires. He's shooting blanks out of it, but he is
that's such a dope scene.
Shooting that gun, cool. Man.
Wait, isn't that the beginning of 3? Or am I thinking of a different?
No, you're thinking
giant machine gun scene.
Back to perfection.
Yeah, but in 3, don't they start it off with him in that?
Oh, it is 3. Okay. I didn't bring up that at the right time.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. It's confusing though because that at 3, it's not in Mexico. Wait, which
3? He's in
he's like in South America,
Venezuela. I'm pretty sure.
But 2 is in Mexico.
Yeah, 2's in Mexico.
Yeah.
It throws me off because they start in South America on that one. Yeah.
And the Mexico setting looks really nice, which I'm sure is really just like California probably or something where it's filmed. I don't know.
Valencia, California.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, they were going to. So originally the script took place in Australia, actually, when they were still supposed to get some budget for this thing. They had to do a bunch of rewrites and stuff and decided to do it in Mexico instead. But yeah, they filmed outside Valencia, California in a 27-day shoot.
Oh my God. The entire thing.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I like the setting. I think the setting's really nice. You can tell that they put a lot of budget into explosions. They're like blowing up just patches of dirt all throughout this movie.
I mean, the crew always talks about like how, especially these first 2 were just like miserable conditions to shoot in. They were all like cold and hot and full of dirt constantly, but they all look back on it fondly. Like they were talking about like it was a very like nurturing environment that everybody like got along and had fun. Even like from cast to crew, like the crew members were always like, if you're doing another one, call us. Like we're down.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. See, that's what Tremors is all about. Fantastic.
I mean, it's only the second movie, but anyway, there's a lot of meta humor in this one because they replace Kevin Bacon, and then there's like this new guy who's pretty annoying. But there's a bunch of jokes at the beginning about him being like, "Well, I know I'm the new guy, and I'm not as good as blah blah blah," and it's like we all know, man.
Glad you are aware of that,
my guy. You don't even know how paper scissors rock works.
Oh yeah,
get out of here.
That's ridiculous. I put in here ska loving sidekick. I think it was because of his outfit. It just looked like he was trying to pick it up.
But that guy definitely listens to ska.
yeah. There was no actual ska in the movie. I mean, other than that, this is pretty cool movie. It's a little exposition dumpy at the beginning where they're just like catching you up. Oh, this is why everything's different this time.
The best exposition dump is at the beginning of 5. It's so good that they reuse it in 7. That little like video intro.
Yeah, that's a clever way to do it.
That I honestly thought was really good.
This one is just like Bert talking in his trailer. Well, this is where Kevin Bacon's at. He married that geologist. Hope I find a geologist of my own in the next 90 minutes.
Oh, God.
And he does.
Well, not Bert.
It's his.
God, what's this dude's name? I forgot the character's name.
Who cares? Already. Not Kevin Bacon.
Val and... I feel so bad.
The guy's name is Christopher Garton. And he is... Who does he play?
No, the guy from the original one.
I'm calling him that because his name is... I'm going Burt Ward. That's why I'm getting so confused here.
Fred.
I meant Fred Ward.
Fred Ward. What's Fred Ward's character's name? Val and... God, I can't remember.
Earl?
Earl Bass.
Earl Bass.
Yeah, he looks like an Earl Bass.
Yeah, Earl's giving the exposition dump. There's a cool shot of there being like a... Tremors arcade cabinet. I really want to know what that's all about. But one of my favorite things in this movie
It's
is
about not securing IP rights, David.
when they go and they find out that the graboids are in a way like a cocoon themselves, and then the shriekers kind of like pop out of them. The birth scene is just so gross.
It's awesome. It's like, oh.
It's so gnarly,
Yeah.
and it's like it's all practical too, so it still looks really nice today. But
God,
man,
the way it's just like
love that
shrieking
stuff.
that whole night when they're camped out there. It's really good.
That's good stuff, man.
The whole scene where like they're in the garage and they find the MREs and stuff. And it's just awesome. It's just awesome. And I love that. Maybe it's not this one. Maybe I'm actually thinking this is a scene from 4 where like the punk kid in number 1, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I don't remember his name. But
Denny?
I think it's Denny.
You know what? I have it in my notes for number 3.
I think you're thinking of 3.
Yeah, I think so, right? Where the punk kid is like the one like trying to sell out the town and
Melvin.
stuff like that. Melvin, that's who it is.
That's 3, because 3 has a bunch of returning characters. Because in 2, you really only get Fred Ward, right? I don't think there's anyone else, because it doesn't even take place
You
in
get
Perfection.
Fred Ward and Burnt Gummer.
Yeah, and you
That's
get
it.
Gummer, of course. You get old Goomy, who's upset again about not receiving the proper intel that's necessary for this mission.
Somebody just knowing your enemy is battle plan 101.
Fred Ward has won a Golden Globe.
Okay, so let's hit Tremors 1, guys. I mean, it's obviously when you clicked on this video, you knew that the number 1 Tremors movie was going to be the first one.
The One True King of Worms.
Yes.
Released in 1999. 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb. 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. A 96-minute runtime. Made on a budget of $11 million. Scoring $3,731,000 opening weekend with a worldwide gross of $16,667,000.
Not bad.
All right.
Yeah. But not good enough
Not good
for
enough.
another theatrical release. Screenplay by the One True Team, Stephen Seth Wilson and Brent Maddock. Directed by Ron Underwood. Ron Underwood, first-time director.
Wow.
A big thing for Maddock and Wilson. And this was like, they were talking, they were always complaining to their agent, Miss Roberts. I forgot her name again.
Julia.
Not Julia, different Roberts. No relation. Also, I'm pretty sure. I didn't ask. I also haven't met him. Just watched interviews with these people. Nancy Roberts. They're always complaining about like how they would write this script. They love what they did. And then all these like script changes would come. People would change their ideas. They're like, people are ruining our movie. So she told them like write a spec script, right? Get everything down, sell it with the caveat. Like they had all these deal breakers. So a bunch of production houses passed because these guys were making all these crazy demands that they would also be the producers. Any screen rewrites they would do personally. And it had to be directed by their friend Ron Underwood. It had to be their director. And luckily Universal bought. And that's why we get this fantastic story of 2 everyday average men fighting off an unexpected onslaught of underground pre-Cambrian life forms plaguing their small, geographically isolated community.
Wow. It seems like you ended with such a perfect synopsis.
Well said.
I didn't realize, but
That wasn't my intention, but it was the next thing in my notes, and I already wrote it there, so it's feeling like a good time.
I didn't realize that this guy also directed City Slickers, the guy who did the first Tremors.
Yeah.
Which is funny. It's just like
Desert stuff.
a bunch of desert stuff. Ooh, and a couple episodes of Fear the Walking Dead. How weird.
Gross.
How totally strange.
Oh man, I wish I would have been reading straight off of my notes because I had a way better closer. Universal took the bait and a franchise sprung from the earth. That's what I should have said.
Oh, come
how I
on.
read it.
Oh, why'd you even bring it up now? Jeez. I feel like Tremors 1, what can you say about it? It's smarter than it should be. It's very clever in
Much
its
like
writing.
the Graboids.
And its setup. And then, man, the puppet work is just so amazing, especially
The big puppets, the little puppets.
that iconic scene of the Tremor busting through Gummer's wall.
Oh yeah,
dude.
amazing.
And when he
Incredible
comes through the
stuff.
floor at
When you
what,
first
Chang's
see
grocery.
the graboid, what it actually is,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that scene of that dentist or the town doctor like getting eaten while he's like building his dream home or something with his wife or something in their car, and the wife like hides in the car and the car gets like taken underground. You're like, what?
When the headlights finally get blocked out by the dirt, it's so good.
Now, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen this one in a little bit because I watched it back in October, and then I was like, it was recent enough, I don't need to watch it. But I felt like at the time, and I'm maintaining this point, they could have got that girl some pants a lot sooner than they did. That girl unnecessarily didn't have her pants on for too long in the movie.
This is the 90s, David.
I mean, I guess, but it was just
also like life and death situation, is pants your first concern?
Well, it's just like, as Kevin Bacon is the gentleman, as we all know him, the man of the ham, he would have been like, here, take my pants. Let me pop off. Let me let out the sausage.
Maybe he wasn't wearing clean underwear.
Well,
he had a pretty stressful day.
That character obviously wasn't wearing clean underwear, but you think he'd have the chivalry to say, if one of us is going to be pantsless, it's going to be old Kevin Bacon over here.
Not if you're not wearing clean underwear.
Take my pants. He'll take the underwear off too.
Dude, that's terrible. You got these crazy snake things jumping out of the ground, grabbing at things. Just be flying willy-nilly. No, thank you.
If that snake grabs you, I don't know how much further you're going to get, but fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, but
that's not something you're going to take a chance on.
Ask you this question. If you're going to get dragged underground by like a Precambrian worm, would you rather it be by your leg or by your penis and third leg?
Yeah. I was wondering what you were going to land on.
Yeah. I was like, how hard do I go? I'll just go penis.
Fair enough.
Fun fact, the original title for the Tremors script was Beneath Perfection.
Huh.
Also not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
That's nice, but it's not scary enough.
Tremors just hits,
It's a sexy title. Tremors is a sexy title.
Beneath Perfection sounds like it's going to be some like drama.
Yeah.
About like with people, like upper class people.
But Tremors makes me shudder.
And you're like, I want to know what that's about. And that's what a sexy title does, kids. Well then, that's the official, unofficial, uninformed movie review ranking of the Tremors series.
You heard it here first and only, folks.
Perfection.
Yeah, perfection. Perfection. Not so perfection, but also perfection.
The list is perfect.
It is exactly what it needs to be, the Tremors franchise.
Yeah.
And it just needs to be exactly what it needs to be. Over and done with. Don't just stop. I tried to find information on why like these two dudes like weren't working together like on the franchise anymore, and I couldn't find anything. But they probably just like knew it was time. But if you are gonna do something, like at least put the heart back in it. Get these guys on.
He probably just didn't. Yeah. One of them just probably didn't give them like a video game back that they borrowed or something.
It's always something petty.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they do 8, you got to at least bring back the original writing crew.
Definitely.
If you can get Kevin Bacon, that'd be something else. But
you might get a theater.
At this point, I don't know if it makes sense in the story for him to return. So
he's old,
and he'd be super old. It just seems like he's the only person who didn't get a comeback, but obviously because he's the only person who had a career.
Like
don't break Michael Gross. You know what I mean? He's had injuries through these movies. I think it was like 3. He like tore his meniscus. He had to get like surgery. Oof. Way older now. Don't break this dude. Have Jamie Kennedy take the lead. Bring him back, but under the writing crew of the original writers who actually know what they're doing, and you might have like a shot. I don't know. Who else would you get? So my turn for the fun hypothetical question, and I just thought of it right now. I didn't prepare earlier.
Okay.
But who would you cast as leading man? And if you can think of it, their co-part in Tremors 8. Who could take the helm?
That's not Kevin Bacon?
Kevin Hart and The Rock. No, I'm just joking.
God.
Let me think about this.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ooh, that could be fun, actually. Just get Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Scott Stapp.
Oh gosh.
Shia LaBeouf in a Holes Tremors crossover.
Well,
That's
we
what I
can't
want.
hire Shia LaBeouf anymore because he
Yeah.
shot those dogs. So.
Yeah, he's kind of sucks.
Hey, but he was in character.
If you get mad at every actor who shoots some dogs, who's gonna be left?
If you shoot dogs, f*** you.
Well, fair enough. Man, I'm not sure who's hammy enough for it. You need someone who's got the
'cause you need
ham.
the mix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time thinking of it as myself.
I really
Shall
like.
we? Oh, that's interesting. Or character limit
Extended.
and then come back to it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That's a good idea. So
All right, that brings us to our next segment, character limit, because I'm gonna do it twice.
Extended.
A Clockwork Orange by Stanley Kubrick.
I was gonna do the clock noise with my mouth, but I have a sample for that. It'll be better.
Oh, what a time.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest.
It always is a time. You know what I mean?
This was my first time watching it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Really? You've
Yeah.
never seen a Clockwork Orange
I've never
before?
seen it. No, I've seen
weird.
clips and stuff, and like, it was another instance of one of those movies that's just so integrated into like American cinema that I've
You
seen.
got it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I knew what it was, and I've
But it's
caught
very
reference.
different
Oh my
seeing it.
god, it's so good. It's amazing. I couldn't pull away from it. Like I put it on as like a movie to fall asleep to. I was just like, I'll just start watching it. I stayed up through the whole thing, which was like what 2.5 hours. Amazing. It was awesome. It was super violent. Super. I can't believe that made it into theaters like back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in some places it was even rated X. There was like
I could see that.
there was definitely some controversy, but yeah, it's 1971. You can imagine some of that. It's more intense than a lot of stuff that's in theaters today. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh yeah. I don't even think you can get away with half of the stuff that was in there
No, I don't think so.
today.
It's up there with like Mother.
Yeah. Even then, I think
Mother's not even like.
I think it's more shocking than Mother.
I love Mother. We have to. Do
I was just
Mother
thinking of that
next
one moment. I haven't been so genuinely shocked in a long time.
You're talking
except
about
for
the baby?
The baby head, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
time. Yeah. That's a good moment. I love that movie.
oh man.
Pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
That was a good moment because I just remember like feeling it and then like hearing David laugh. You know what I mean? David just being like, and looking over and David looking like Jack Nicholson in Departed. Just like, yeah.
I'm liking where this movie's going.
There you go, Aronofsky.
Yeah, I mean, Clockwork Orange it's one of those movies that is so essential that it's kind of hard to talk about. Like, as obviously,
Right?
it's
Like, what do
really-
you know?
It
Yeah.
really is. I was kind of impressed you found like so much to say so eloquently in your character limit extended.
exceeded.
Exceeded, damn it.
getting your
I was
E's.
trying so hard not to mess it up that I messed it up.
I could hear you like landing it and being so confident about landing
I
it.
said it right 3 times in my head, and I was like incorrectly. But yeah, man, it's such a crazy watch, and I feel like that like it's not even it is like shock value, you know what I mean? But it's done so tastefully.
Yeah.
Well, not even tastefully. I don't know if tastefully is the right word. You know what I mean?
That's a weird
It's
word
done
choice.
so expertly, that it doesn't fade. Like every rewatch, you're like, oh man, like yeah, this is pretty violent.
This is just as uncomfortable as the first time.
violence. Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
also a movie that like I know the source material is pretty hard to like read from what you were saying and then from what I was reading also on the internet, but it's like a movie that doesn't, and movies don't really do this anymore, but it's a movie that doesn't hold the watcher's hand.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like you're in this world no matter if you understand it or not. You don't understand why it's at this point. You don't understand why gangs rule London. You don't understand why like they're in this crazy Cockney gang speak that you don't even understand.
It's a made up language too. Apparently, like the
Yeah.
author invented the language to the point where they even had to have like a glossary and
yeah, there's an appendix in it.
Yeah,
In there.
because people couldn't figure it out.
makes sense. Much like the homeless drunk man on the side of a bridge, you're just stuck in this world and at the wills of it. You know
Just
what I
getting
mean?
beat down.
Yeah, just getting beaten down by the rules in this movie. It's so crazy, especially the first like act when there are no consequences to Alex. You know what I mean? Where the world just bends to his will.
Such a good one. Good watch. I'm really glad we went with it.
It's like, what Kubrick movie are we doing next? You know,
That
we
whole-
should only do Kubrick when like this one where like we don't know what we're gonna do that week. We got to fill something in really quick, and why don't we do a Kubrick movie?
Eyes wide shut next.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
That should be the Kubrick rule. Like we're not ready for it.
There we go.
Just springs upon you.
Yeah, man, I can't say much more about it. It was honestly awesome. Great
Yeah.
watch. I recommend it to anyone.
Yeah, 1,000% essential. Like, you have to watch it. Even if you're uncomfortable the whole time, you have to watch it.
Yeah, you'll definitely feel that.
As long as you're like older than like 15 or something.
Yeah, I mean,
Or whenever your parents think you're ready.
there you go.
Well, all right.
I think that brings us on to
I
That's
think
going to bring
this-
me back to
this Tremors
the
question.
question at hand. And I'm going to go ahead and go first because I have 3 possible answers and they're all pretty ridiculous, honestly. So, channel favorite Brendan Fraser, who has action experience. Hopefully, he's done enough PT where he can make it through something like that. I honestly think that could be pretty good.
Yeah, that could be.
Also, could be pretty good and pretty ridiculous. Nick Cage, crazy man Nick Cage.
he'll take anything.
Like he
too.
will take anything. You put that crazy old bearded Nick Cage out in the desert or something, fight some big worms. You might have a success
pretty good.
on your hands, my friend.
Anyone in Hollywood listening, think about that.
Just think about it.
Well, shoot, man. How am I going to follow that up? Those are 2 great suggestions.
I was only going to think like Adam Sandler and Peter Dinklage.
Like a Happy Madison production. A Happy Madison Tremors.
Oh, that sounds awful.
That
Very strange.
really does sound bad.
Man, you could get Pratt even. Pratt would do a good job.
Yeah. Any of those like action hero people, you know, would be pretty solid.
With some comedic sense.
I'm going to go, you know, I'd want like sad Bill Murray. I want like Wes Anderson Bill Murray in a Tremors movie.
Interesting.
You just apathies the Tremors to death.
Yeah. And it's got to be set in like San Francisco or something. It's like a different area. No, that doesn't work.
It'd be
It can't be
earthquakes.
too popular.
Yeah, people would think it'd be earthquakes anyway.
Oh. Or, hear me
And it
out
would
here.
get out of hand eating all those homeless people. You'd have ass blasters everywhere.
We go back even further. Early, you know.
Caveman stuff.
Yeah, but we're going to England, and we're going to find out that Jack the Ripper is actually a graboid. There's my Tremors 8 pitch.
Jack the Shrieker.
Dude, yes.
Yeah.
I honestly would watch the out of that movie. Oh, man. I'm a little bit upset now. That's not what's happening.
I like
We got to pitch that.
I'm gonna have to go and vote for that as well.
That's the answer, I think. God, it's so stupid. It could totally work. So next actual segment.
Oh, that's interesting.
How interesting.
In this case, it's a little bit sad, everybody. From the Austin American Statesman, which is a newspaper.
Not an actual statesman.
Not a person?
No.
No.
Alamo Drafthouse Cinema files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Travesty.
Cites effects of coronavirus pandemic and lack of sponsorship on this podcast.
What?
Yeah, true.
It's in the news. I'm just reading it.
We got the word out as much as we could,
we
but
did.
Lord knows we could have done more with some dough.
With the proper funding. Alamo Drafthouse Cinema announced Wednesdays that it has voluntarily filed for bankruptcy as the coronavirus pandemic continues to have an effect on its business. Basically, and what does it say here? Alamo Drafthouse Ritz in downtown Austin, as well as locations in New Braunfels and Kansas City, Missouri, will be permanently closed. All other theaters that are currently open will continue to be open in accordance with local pandemic guidelines.
Sick.
The transaction will provide the company with much needed incremental financing to stabilize the business during the pandemic, which has had an unprecedented and outsized impact upon the movie, theater, and dining industries. Yeah, this one's different because I think going and seeing a movie in a theater is one thing. But like,
getting to watch somebody hobble around like a troll while they serve you your food while you're enjoying your movie.
yeah, and like shoveling a whole pizza into your mouth while watching a movie, like
Wash it down with an alcoholic milkshake.
yeah, you can't like wear a mask doing that,
Yeah.
as opposed to just like let me just sit in Cinemark with my mask on and watch this movie.
Alamo had some of the most like innovative snacks too. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I love their snacks menu. Like, you'd like the truffle popcorn, they even something so simple as like their pita bread, and like they have this avocado hummus or something. It's fantastic, man.
The buffalo cauliflower, my goodness.
Yes.
The Brussels sprout goat cheese bacon pizza.
See, that's what we
It'll fill you full of farts, but it'll be worth it.
like. We don't need just straight popcorn.
I'm a fan of Alamo Drafthouse movie parties, or when they just screen movies that you're not going to find anywhere else. I mean, some really
Except for
cool
here
stuff.
on Uninformed Movie Reviews.
well, like One Cut of the Dead, a movie that was just real popular on this channel. We probably would have never even known about if it wasn't for Alamo Drafthouse. So, hoping they can turn this thing around a little bit.
I did hear that the locations here aren't going to be affected.
I hope so. Well, it's weird because they were like planning on opening the East Side one here in El Paso.
Is it not going to open anymore?
The coronavirus. Well, I don't know what's going on with it now, but it was on its way to being like done before everything got shut down. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that one. That's like,
I do love their bar. It's incredible, and their drinks are tight.
and they
You know what? I was gonna say I don't really like remember the bar, but I've had some like good fun experiences at that bar for sure.
well, it's fun
Waiting
to
for movies to start, watch people running into people they don't want to run into.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
yeah, it's usually me. I'm like, oh god,
Man, the Rick and Morty thing, that whole experience was fun with with David Signs. Shout out if you're out. Yeah, I know you're out there somewhere, but you probably, who knows, maybe you do listen to this. I don't know because you don't talk to anybody because you like being a weird enigma, but we miss you. We love you. if you're out there, you can hear us.
Yeah, true though. But the Rickmobile,
Yeah, the Rickmobile.
that's what they were calling it. Yeah. When they were traveling around the country selling.
Yeah, they were charging massive amounts of money for that stuff.
Yeah, that is so cool, man. Yeah, Alamo Drafthouse is just a place for like fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't go away. I'll be so sad.
It is my favorite place to go see movies here.
Yeah. And hopefully things will be back to normal soon so we can go watch movies and
Yeah, I miss that, man.
so that my AMC stock will grow.
Same. We could be on the moon.
Straight to it.
To the moon.
That was sad.
It's
Yeah,
sad,
yeah.
right, man? I don't want to see such a great movie theater disappear.
I'm holding out for it. I think it'll be bought out.
Well, I'm also thinking that
Optimistic.
I'm thinking that we're getting closer to, at the very least, people attending theaters, even if it's not me.
Yeah.
But people going back, especially in Texas. What can we say?
Yeah.
They done goofed. They done goofed everybody.
Texas gonna Texas.
Yep.
Texas really going with Texas,
Whoa!
I guess.
Well, that's gonna take us to the old the wrap up here, if you will.
Yeah.
And by the wrap up, I mean peeps and predicts.
Peeps, predicts. The only segment on the internet where you take two groups or single people, real or fictional, and pit them together in situations that we argue about right here, right now. What's our peeps for today? Who are we talking about?
Our first peeps are.
Oh.
It's stuck together. Arnold Schwarzenegger versus a reindeer.
Okay. Wow, this is a Christmas one. Yeah. Do you want to go first, Frank?
Yeah, I feel like we should get into this. Who would have been more likely to save Walter Chang from the clutches of a graboid?
Well, now I'm just
Now,
realizing.
I know we want to yell Arnold Schwarzenegger, but
Hear me out.
Yeah, you're not convincing me on this one. I just realized right now, though, Arnold Schwarzenegger, that would have been a nice inclusion
Dude.
for some Tremors.
Talk about it.
But I'm imagining like a younger Arnold. Like if this went another way.
Hey, CGI can do anything now.
Well, I don't know. I've seen that Terminator trailer.
I mean, I've seen that Captain America movie.
So I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger, though, right? Is there anyone even have an argument as to why a reindeer would be more successful?
That reindeer would immediately.
You said reindeer?
Yeah, that reindeer.
That reindeer
Would, I'm dyslexic. I read the B backwards in my head. That reindeer would get ate. ate so fast.
I think the only exception would be that if the reindeer was trying to rescue Santa from a graboid, then I could see. If the situation involves Santa Claus.
I don't think all reindeer have an allegiance to Santa Claus, though. Just Santa's reindeer.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
You don't know anything, Frank.
I said I think.
Yeah, you're probably right. That'd be a lot of reindeer.
Well, then it's settled.
I mean, that one's settled. Like Arnold, and he would probably pull it off too.
So here's our next, because we do a 2 out of 3 setup here. Who is more likely to have an illegitimate love child that looks like Jamie Kennedy? I feel like reindeer with a comeback here. I don't know. Okay, well,
I'm so glad that one got read today.
That's fantastic. I'm glad you guys did these before I got here. Like, these are nice surprises. As you went for the jars, I was like, I don't think we discussed if those jars were okay. I hope this comes out all right.
Oh yeah, they're good.
So do we do funny or do we do sincere? Because obviously a reindeer's not.
I mean, David, this channel is about nothing if not integrity. We have to go with Arnold Schwarzenegger here. Like,
fair enough.
Genetically, the reindeer cannot conceive a child with a human being.
Can't tell me that.
If we start just playing for fun, this whole game is going to break down.
It'll go into shambles.
Okay, so Danny, do you want to pick our last one? Because now it's going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger versus William Shatner, our reigning champion.
Reindeer versus Will Shatner would have been a weird.
That would have been
probably like the weirdest final
Who's
round. Who's
more likely to pull a sleigh?
Oh.
Nice. Who is least likely to survive a graboid infestation?
I
mean, William Shatner, right?
William Shatner.
Do you think so? Does it depend on the age of them? Because we talked about...
I think
they're about the
around
same age.
Let's see.
Well, we talked about young Arnold, right? Being in...
Yeah, but I mean, first off, this one didn't specifically say young Arnold.
True.
So I think we'd have to go with like their age currently.
Yeah, that seems fair.
But I think that William Shatner is way older than
And
Arnold.
he's not
if
in that
anything.
great a shape. I mean...
How old's Arnold?
Well, William
60.
Shatner's 89 years old.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think Arnold Schwarzenegger is 70.
Plus, William Shatner doesn't walk around in the gym gamming. He's not gamming in the streets.
Bumping iron.
73.
Wow.
But you also have to remember that Arnold Schwarzenegger is in shape.
Yeah, he's Mr. Olympus.
I got sidetracked because my Google autocorrect was like Arnold Schwarzenegger day he became a citizen and came across this delightful photo, which I'll have David like superimpose on the video
Oh,
here.
of course.
Oh, that's just great.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was so stoked to become an American.
I love it.
You're like slurring your words over. Everyone's gonna be thinking that you're like drinking in this last part of the podcast.
I don't think so. I'm always misspeaking.
I feel like it's. Oh my gosh, this picture's amazing.
Well, it's 12:42 a.m. Came immediately over here after a day of work. What are you
That's
gonna
fair.
do?
That is fair. That is fair. There's just beautiful things happening over here. I'm gonna edit this together in an amazing way. I mean, it's got to be Arnold. Even if you're not, even if you're like, obviously Predator's just a role, Terminator's just a role. He's still going to be more prepared.
In real life, Arnold Schwarzenegger was still Mr. Universe.
Yeah, the guy drives a tank for fun.
He can still run. I don't think William Shatner can run.
William Shatner ain't running anywhere except to the buffet line of the second plate. That's it.
To the restroom like 12 times a night.
Do we 2 out of 3 this?
No, this is the
final round is the final round.
Is the final round.
I'm so glad Shatner
It's
got
a
beat
fight
out.
to the death.
I'm so glad he got beat out.
I'm okay with Schwarzenegger.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like
I'm pretty sure he's been here before. Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
It's not the
Welcome
first
back,
time I've had
Arnie.
something like that.
Welcome back, Arnie. So glad you got it.
Well, folks, go watch you some Tremors. Don't make too much noise when you're out in the desert, I guess.
Tread lightly.
Keep an eye on where the rocks are, where the large rocks you can jump onto is. That's really the thing that's gonna save you.
Stay away from Jamie Kennedy.
And I always remember the most important question Burt Gummer ever asked to Cactus Jack or whatever his name was in the third movie. Do you keep your head up your ass for the warmth?
Like, share, and subscribe. Everyone, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. This helps us out a lot. Check us out on Instagram at Uninformed Movie Reviews, where this lovely gentleman right here makes some great content. Give us a check out on Facebook at Uninformed Movie Reviews, and we'll see you next time.